In most countries in the world, everybody is struggling to survive. And we have a wide variety of types of government that are supposed to deal with people's health problems, financial problems, just problems of staying alive and being able to prosper. So in America, we have a much vaunted system uh, that we call democracy. And we're very proud that we got it from ancient Athens. But ancient Athens used a little bit of a different system. They had something they called sortition, where random people would be selected and put into a group where they had to make decisions concerning the needs of the society. What kind of laws should be enacted, what kind of laws should be gotten rid of, and so on. Our system opted for an oligarchic version where we elect people who have power and charisma and are able to get attention by saying the right things and looking the right way. And that system um, makes it possible for people to game it. Basically, you can act a good part and you can get rich being elected to some political office, and you can uh, steal out of the government coffers and all that. We're seeing a good example of it right now in our federal government, but the system itself doesn't have a remedy for that. The only remedy we can think of is find people we can trust. Well, we're obviously not very good at that. We've got some of the most untrustworthy people who've seized power, and um, by getting them elected by voters. Now, yes, we are starting to see that when they are afraid they're going to be voted out, they're going to try to keep the wrong people from voting, of course. They have been gaming the system for their whole lives and they don't want to stop. All right, this idea of sortition kind of interests me. So you take people who don't really know very much, they have their own personal biases, they don't really think things through, they have prejudices that if they were the one making the rules, things would fall apart pretty quickly. um, but if you put them in a group and you require them to work with other people and you give them good information, something happens, something really unexpected happens. They start to make better decisions than the politicians who spend fortunes to get elected and then have to worry about the next election and who they have to please and where they're going to get the money, um, this is a totally different concept of what we could use to get rational decisions about governance. Um, and you wonder why the framers of the Constitution didn't want that. Was it in order to preserve slavery, which was a minority of people who actually could own other people? Um, and if that decision were put to the masses, would they have just taken another path? Probably. And maybe that had something to do with the fact that they created a system where people who are good at managing perceptions, who could get a lot of money behind them, could get into a position of power. Of course, those people have to please their contributors, and they owe their whole existence to the people who funded them. Well, you could kind of see how easily that system could be corrupted. Now we're calling it a democracy, that this is the voice of the people. But is it? Um, what we have now is falling apart. It's obviously crashing. So we're going to have to rethink it. And when we rethink um, how we got into this mess and how we can get out of it and how we can stop becoming a loose cannon on deck, um, the rest of the world is worried about the United States because it's looking like um, it could do some pretty drastically foolish things. Um, well, we, I think we need somehow to get the voice of the people involved. When you look at Congress, you see all these millionaires. And in the Trump administration, there are almost 20 billionaires. Is this representative democracy? Doesn't look like it, does it? I think we may need to go back to the drawing board in some ways and, first of all, get money out of politics. Then we need a uncorrupt Supreme Court. We need to be able to have trust in our representatives. That is something that is at a very low ebb right now because, frankly, they're not trustworthy. So this is just a little talk about the issues that we probably need to start considering, that we need to ask some questions about. That's the end of my talk tonight.